Boy, I love riding skateboards. It's so much fun.
I'll say, along with video games, it's probably my favorite thing in the world. Maybe.
Well, if you like skateboarding and video games, have I got the thing for you.
Oh, wait. Is that the new Tony Hawk game? Didn't it just announce that like a few months ago?
Yeah, I thought it was weird too.
Was it gonna be any good?
I don't know.
Let's ask the age-old question. Should you buy it?
Well, aren't we answering it?
The Tony Hawk series is a series that we both had a whole heck of a mess of fun growing up with as skateboarders. Like most wildly popular video game franchises, these games were easy for anybody to pick up and be able to get into, and fun enough to keep you coming back for more long after you finish the main challenges. And even if you never touched the challenges, it was still a fun simulation for skateboarders when it was raining, snowing, too late to go out and skate, or you were sick with like AIDS or something. Although, after a while, the series started getting repetitive and it was more or less the same thing every year, and people just kind of stopped paying attention to it. I can't even remember what the last game in the main series was without using Google. But then EA made their Skate series, which was fun for a little bit, but to be perfectly honest, after countless hours of rubbing my skate boner out playing the Tony Hawk games, I was over the whole skate simulation shtick. Sure, in the EA series, the controls and physics were different, and people pretend it's realistic, even though it's not at all. But it was still just a skate simulation for when I couldn't actually go out and skate. And I just didn't care to play a video game about something I can actually do in real life anymore. This made me miss the Tony Hawk series because while it was a skate simulation after you finished the main game, playing through the main game was over the top as hell and fun. So naturally, when Tony Hawk 5 was announced, I got buck wild. Yeah, Tony Hawk HD came out in 2012, but that game can go suck an egg. Although to be fair, it was just a cheap digital download without much hype involved, so it's easy to let that one slide.
But now that we have a new numbered entry in the series with a full retail release, you know some serious work went into it.
Let's poop this baby in.
Why'd you say poop it? That's what you wrote.
It was a typo!
What do you mean a typo?
Well, this doesn't look very promising.
Why?
Well, hold on. The Unreal Engine is good. It's been used for a lot of reputable games.
There's nothing wrong with the Unreal Engine itself, but they already had an engine for the old Tony Hawk games. Would they lose it or something? The 2012 Tony Hawk game used this, and the physics were the main reason why it sucked so bad.
Yeah, but maybe they just needed more time. It's been 3 years. Let's just give it a chance. Fuck this game!
The game starts off with a classic montage, but it just feels awkward. Why did they blur people's faces and skateboards out? I mean, I kind of understand faces, but if they're trying to hide certain logos from people's boards, why didn't they just use a different clip? Moving on to the gameplay, you kinda just get plopped into every stage without any cheesy voice acting or campy storylines, which is kind of a letdown to be honest. I know the very first few games didn't have it, and they're trying to be nostalgic and all that this time around, so I can let go of that, but why would they take away things like being able to get off your board, pivoting during manuals, and being able to press the grind button without being hurled towards the ground? This is by far the absolute worst and most unforgivable thing about this game. It's another reason they should have just left the old engine alone. It was perfect in Tony Hawk 2. Did they just lose the source code or something? And speaking of things I think they lost, why couldn't they just use the old motion captures if they weren't gonna get new ones? Look at that. That's not how a kickflip's supposed to look, you fucking Again, it was better in Tony Hawk 2, and that was on the PlayStation 1. All they had to do was give us the last Tony Hawk game with better graphics, updated skaters, minus Nigel Houston, and bigger levels. As lazy as they were making this game, what with them not wanting to do motion captures, or doing a really shitty job at it if they did, it would have been less work to just add on to like Project 8 or whatever the last game was. The controls feel completely off and they only vaguely resemble the classic games, but even after you get used to it, the levels are all pretty much the same thing, with lame power-ups being added like a flaming skateboard, electrified skateboard, and being big because, why not? It's easy to program. It doesn't make anything more fun, but it's easy to program. And would you just look at how creative and cleverly strategic they placed the skate letters in this level? And I almost forgot to mention the challenges that have you skating through hoops. You know, kinda like Superman 64. I'm actually impressed that in 2015, with decades worth of games to choose inspiration from, they stole ideas from Superman 64. And that's more or less everything there is to say about this game. We would go into further detail, but what else is there about this game that needs to be said? We're not going to talk about the Create-A-Park or online play, because what's the point in creating a skate park or playing a game online that isn't fun to play, period? And don't forget that this is a full retail game that costs $60. Today's answer is an easy one. Do not buy Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5.
I can't believe they had the balls to charge $60 for a game that they put such little effort into.
That is bullshit. Let's ask Bo what happened to this thing. Bo!
Why would we ask Bo?
He's actually good friends with Tony Hawk. They follow each other on Instagram and everything.
Tony Hawk follows Bo on Instagram?
He actually does.
What do you posers want?
We want you to ask Tony Hawk why this game sucks so much pee-pee.
What are you talking about? This game is so sin. I made the whole thing on Tony's computer by myself.
Oh. That actually does make sense, and it does explain the motion capture situation.
Yeah, that's right. You two nerds stay here. Quit embarrassing me in front of everybody at the skate park. I'm gonna go get lots of footy, get sponsored, and then get tons of pussy. Later, haters.
First, zoom the camera out of my face.